welcome back to T Wrestling. My name is 28 Nights. I'm here with Tim, and we're going to be
My name
talking
is Tim.
about.
My Tim is nice.
Okay, and
I'm
we're
not
going to
just
talk
doing that. I'm not
about.
just doing this to wind Toyer up. By the way, absolutely not.
Can I finish my statement? My
Sure,
sentence?
go
Oh, thank
ahead.
you. We're going to be talking about Survivor Series of Results,
Yep.
which was on Saturday.
Yeah.
It was a really good show. I
It
enjoyed
was a
it.
good show. It was a good show. Absolutely. It wasn't quite up to Extreme Rules standards, but I don't think it's going to be hard to do anything that's up to Extreme Rules standards. So, you know, this
Extreme
was
Rules
this
was
was just
like
a
Extreme Rules. I was like getting
yeah.
rude.
This was just that was just I think that's going to be well. I mean, there isn't any more pay per view, so I can say with some certainty that it's going to win pay per view of the year in my book. But leaving that aside, this was a really good one. I had a lot of fun. That's always the important bit.
Fun, 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 fun. Alright,
Yay!
let's start this fun.
Yeah.
So, we've got the first match, which was the Women's War Games.
Yep.
Some team fought another team. Do I have to name them all?
It was Damage Control versus Bianca's Squadron. Damage Control and some people
Oh,
versus
yeah, and then
Bianca's
we had.
Squadron.
And then we found out the fifth member was Becky
Yes.
Lynch. So we were both wrong.
Yep. That we were. Should have been
look.
Chelsea's Queen.
I mean, look. I think we both would have picked Becky Lynch if we knew Becky Lynch was available. We both thought she was out.
We both thought she was out because we basically thought she was. I mean, we knew she wasn't injured really anymore, but I think we both thought she would be out until the build-up for the Rumble.
Right.
If we had known she would come back now, yeah, I think we would have put our money on Becky.
Yeah, definitely.
So again, this is not something that makes me unhappy in any way.
Oh, I wasn't happy at all. When I found out, I was like excited. I was like, oh well, yeah. I know who's gonna win.
That was the only thing. The second Becky stepped up there, I was like, well, that sort of ruins the
right.
I
was like, well, now
not the excitement, but that sort of ruins
now I'm just gonna watch it for just to see how it goes, because I'm like, I know who's gonna win. Right? It's like pretty obvious. It's like you're not gonna like bring someone back like this and then like not have to win.
And especially not her.
Right. I was like, okay.
No, not gonna happen.
So spoilers, haha.
Bianca's
team won.
Actually, Becky won since she was the one who got the pin, because of course she was.
I mean, here's the thing about War Games, and we probably should have explained this in a prediction show. The match doesn't start until the 10th person comes in. And the first two people are fighting for like 5 minutes. And then I think it's like every 3 minutes someone comes in.
I think it's supposed to be every 5, but I mean, this is wrestling, so if you time it with a stopwatch, I don't think you'll hit it.
Yeah, I think it was 5 minutes for the first two. So it was Bianca Belair started with Dakota Kai, and they were for 5 minutes, and then the next 3 minutes, because Bayley's team had the advantage, Io Sky came in, so it was 2-on-1, and then Asuka came in, and then Nikki Cross came in, and then Alexa Bliss, and then Bayley, and then Mia Yim, Mick whatever her name is.
Minch and Mia Yim, I think they have settled on.
And what was it? Rhea Ripley, and then Becky Lynch. Here's the thing that I don't understand about the whole, like, when it says, oh, you have the advantage, so the advantage is that you can have...
Rhea isn't the one to come in last that has the advantage. That's what
I think that... I think it should be, like, opposite.
The advantage is the one to send in a rested wrestler just as the actual match is beginning, after everyone else has been beating the crap out of each other for 20 minutes.
Right, exactly. It's like, what? Okay.
Or 15 minutes, or however long, there is between them. Again, I don't know exactly what the time frame was this time, but again, in general, it's like with the 2 minutes at Royal Rumble. it's whenever WWE feels like it's best to send in the next one to keep up the pace. If it's 5.5 minutes, if it's two
Yeah,
and a half
it's
minutes,
this
it's
time
whatever is best.
it was
Don't time it
3 minutes.
with a stopwatch. You'll be disappointed.
Yeah, it was actually 3 minutes. I know.
Fair enough. But
Yeah.
it was
It
three
was like
minutes. I'm just saying.
the first one was 5 minutes, first match, and then every 3 minutes
Yeah,
after that was 3 minutes. But like, here's
that
the
makes
thing, right?
sense.
I would do this, like, it's, like you could have an advantage. I would put like, instead of going like, oh, let me go first and let them go, whatever. I'd be like, okay,
Yeah,
which one is their best wrestler? Oh,
yeah,
put
exactly.
them in there. Like, let the other person choose who goes first
Yeah,
on
you
the other
guys go
team,
first,
right?
and then we will come in later after you have already like
And
worn
I was
yourself
like, and
out
I was
for
like,
20 minutes.
I was like, everyone who had the bandits was like, they lost. I'm like, okay, well, that didn't help.
Yeah.
But I mean, other than
Um,
that, it was a pretty good match. Oh, that
it's a very good match.
the exchange between Io Sky and Asuka was like amazing. Back
Yeah,
and
those two
forth,
went.
like God, they're so amazing. Like I want to see
I
them go
mean,
at it again.
I know they had a very short feud back in NXT, like a match or two, but did they work back in Japan when Asuka was Kana? Because it looked like they had been doing this like many, many, many times before.
Right?
They just looked very, very natural together.
It just synced so well. I was like, wow, this is amazing.
Yeah,
Like I could watch these two go at it like all night. Seriously.
absolutely. I would want those two to have a feud, like just a feud between those two.
Those two,
I
yeah,
would love that.
definitely. I would love that. I would love to
Um,
see that.
any other sort of comments? I have the one where there was a pretty fun table spot where they sort of trapped Bianca between the table and the cage between the two rings. I
Yeah.
don't think I've seen that one before. That was pretty inventive.
I mean, yeah.
And
Um,
I also just love Nikki
Nikki was
basically
just
not
crazy. For
taking
the
part of the
feud,
match
the
for
match,
most of the fight.
she was too busy climbing up the thing,
Yeah,
and I'm like, what are you doing, Nikki? I was like,
yeah, like just sitting there watching people
I
fight.
mean, that would be
I
me
love.
though.
Listen,
Honestly, to
listen.
save my energy, I'll be sitting up there too, like,
Yeah,
y'all go ahead fight.
listen. I don't. I actually liked superhero in Nikki, but that's because I'm a huge Nikki Cross fan. I think Nikki might be the most underrated performer in the women's division. And there are several underrated performers in the women's division. I
Right.
think Nikki is one of the most underrated ones, and I love superhero in Nikki, but Crazy Nikki is just always like I have never seen her have a bad match. Not because of the match herself, but just because she's so fun to like to watch what she does.
She really
Um,
is.
like half the time she was like everyone was fighting and she was just sitting cross-legged on the table just giggling at everything that was going on. I don't know why, I just love it so much.
Nikki was
um
just being Nikki.
yeah.
That's what she was
um
doing. She did try to.
Becky,
She did try to like handcuff Alexa
she did
Bliss.
try to handcuff Alexa Bliss to the ring, and then
Ring
they got handcuffed
go
to each other,
together. Yeah.
which was like that didn't go well, but at
No.
the same time, they have history, so it made sense. um
I mean, you know.
Becky, my dear, my sweet, my wonderful man, Becky, you need to drop the elbow thingy because it just flops around and it looks very stupid. Sorry, the shoulder thing. It just looks really dumb.
Yeah.
It looks like Becky on her costume. Becky had like a thing that looked like an old time like armor shoulder pauldron, except it was clearly not stiff. It was just flopping around, and it looked really
Like I thought she
silly.
was gonna take it off when she got into the ring.
Yeah, but no, she just kept going. That was very. Anyway, this is the kind of stuff why I love war games. There's just always something going on. There's almost never a dull moment.
I mean, it was
Um,
really just. I mean, it's like
you can.
I mean, I don't even know how long the match was exactly because I mean, like the bell didn't ring until like Becky came in, but everybody else was like already like out.
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of
I
like
mean, they feel like they're super short always. I mean, I think the match was. Let me just check because I actually have it somewhere. Yeah, it was almost 40 minutes, but it didn't feel like 40 minutes.
It didn't feel like 40 minutes because the bell didn't ring officially.
No, exactly. But I mean, you know what I mean, right? From
Yeah.
Bianca goes in the ring, from Bianca and Dakota goes in the ring until Becky pins. Who was it again? Who did she pin again? She pinned Dakota Kai, I think.
Well, I know she
Well,
had Dakota Kai and Io Sky, and she did her leg drop thing, and I think she might have pinned both of
yeah.
them. I don't even know.
She might have. I can't remember for absolute certainty. But yeah. Whatever. But yeah, that was 40 minutes, and it didn't feel 40 minutes.
Dude, it was
Like
so.
this felt like just a standard mid range match, but
It was so good.
Yeah, it really was.
Considering that most of these, like, I know Rhea been in the War Games, Bianca's been in the War Games.
Yeah.
Io Sky and Dakota Kai, those four. But the other four, they did so well for being their first
Yeah, they
times.
really did.
And other people,
They really did.
I was like, man, I don't know. This is like my favorite match so far. This is like a good start.
It's a really hard match to structure because it's basically like a 5-man tornado tag team, which means that you really have to know how to hit your spots and then stay down for 5 minutes while other people get their thing. But at the same time, everyone needs to constantly be moving. It's a very, very hard match to structure, but when it works, it's just
and
perfect.
they did, and these ladies did exactly that.
Absolutely.
Everybody got a little piece of something. Rhea had her moments when she tried to, when she got Becky, in her special and almost pinned Becky and stuff like that. And I mean,
exactly.
Everyone had their little moments. It was great.
There was none of the teams that, even when everyone was in the ring, none of the teams were like dominating at any real point.
Right.
It was just like a big free for all. Also, does Rhea's costume not look like she's giving herself a wedgie?
I mean, yeah, I don't know. That was the whole point. No one's complaining.
No, please, more close-ups. But it was more like exactly what happened. Usually, I don't pay that much attention to, that end. Well, I do, but I try not to for the sake of the wrestling. I try not to get distracted. But there was at one point a close-up directly up Rhea's butt from one of the cameras, and I was like, those panties are very, very far pulled up here. That's all I'm saying.
It was all that, but anyways.
Yeah, so I'm fine. Listen, I'm fine. It was a spectacular good match, or a really, really good match. It was good to give Becky like a returning moment. It was a very good start to the show. At this point, you can basically abolish damage control because they don't have any value anymore.
I mean, yeah, I think on Raw they tried to attack Becky Lynch again. So
I'm sure. I mean, I'm sure it's now going to be Becky versus
Bayley.
Becky versus Bayley rather than Bianca, because Bianca has to be moving on from this. Again, I would have let. We knew it was going to be Becky. I don't have a problem with them winning and Becky getting a return moment. I think Damage Control should have won this one.
I think it would have been better. Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't think Damage Control has really any reason for existing anymore.
I really don't. Because I was like last when I was watching Raw. And I didn't watch all of it. I watched a clip of it, but I was like, "Why are they going after? Like, why are they? Why?"
Yeah, why? What sense does that make? Do they just want to lose another match now with someone from that group? Listen, Damage Control is a very good idea, but at this point, Bayley can fine go on her own, and the other two can just fight for the titles. It's fine, but Damage Control is pointless. It's like the old Wyatt family, right? They were so cool and they were so powerful, and then they lost every fight they were into, and eventually it's like, who cares? You people are a laughing stock. Oh, this is a laughing stock. You can't take it serious anymore. Anyway, let's move on. It was very good. Don't let that last thing take away from the fact that the match itself was close to a 5-star.
Don't worry, I'll erase everything he says, guys. Don't worry.
Good, lovely. Okay. That'll be fine.
Alright, well, let's go to the next match.
My pleasure.
AJ Styles versus Finn Balor. which was actually a pretty good match.
Yeah, as we said, like if as long as they keep up the pace, this would be a good match. I was surprised. Yeah, no, go.
I think the pace was perfect considering what we went through with the other match. It wasn't
Absolutely.
like
No, I agree. I agree. It's just that I remember the first time they had a match after AJ came in. Like I said, this is almost 5 years ago, but it just got boring because it was just like submission move into power move, and then they rested on the ground for 5 minutes. I know it was like to build up how great technical wrestlers both of them are, but it just got boring at the end because too little happened. I mean, it was a 25-minute match, and we had maybe 12 minutes of action, and that's not how it's about. But yeah, after that one, this one was perfect. I was surprised at two things. There were surprisingly few shenanigans in this match. Like the two the Good Brothers, the OC and Dominic and Damien suddenly started fighting and fought into the audience, and they were just gone for the rest of the match.
I know, right?
And
Like,
there was
where
a
did they
clean.
go? Okay.
Yeah, for like I don't know how long this match was either, but I mean for 90% of it, this was just Finn and AJ having a wrestling match. That none of the girls were there. Rhea or
Well, I mean,
Mia
they just
Yim
got
wasn't.
done fighting. They
I
ain't
know
gonna
they
be
were
there.
busy. I mean, both of them had just been in the other match. I'm aware of that, but they weren't there. The OC and the Judgment Day, or the remainders of both of them, just went away after like a
They went to
fourth
go
of the
get some
match.
coffee. Okay, they're like, you know what? Let's
Yeah.
get some coffee. Let's pretend like we're fighting and get some coffee. Oh, that's fine.
Yeah, and then they just fought. I mean, again, like I said, there's nothing wrong with that. This was the best match these two have ever had. Surprisingly enough, these two have had very few matches actually, because when Finn left Japan, that AJ didn't really go to Japan until Finn left. And after they came back, I mean, yeah, they had a few matches back in the day after AJ hit WWE, but
Not too many.
For someone who is so connected through the Bullet Club and other places, they had surprisingly few like one-on-ones. But they worked really well together. Yeah, that's again just another very good match.
And
Very little to say.
AJ Styles won.
AJ Styles won, which is the right decision, I think. But this have to end in a team battle, right?
It has to.
I mean, I heard there was something again on Raw where the two teams like collided. But it has to end in a big team match. I don't know when, because there isn't another pay-per-view scheduled until the Rumble. But
maybe at the Rumble, or maybe like I don't know.
Maybe they are doing like another possibility is that the first Raw and the first SmackDown of.
I mean, they did fight on Monday Night Raw.
Yeah.
And Team Judgment Day won, but I don't think that was like an official start of the fight because it was supposed to be Mia versus Rhea at first.
Yeah.
And then Dominic kept interfering and then it made it to the match. But I'm thinking like I'm thinking this needs to be like a pay-per-view, so maybe Rumble, because it's like, Rumble, but like, you can fight more than once on Rumble. It's happened before.
Of course. I mean, there's also the possibility. I mean, they had to drop day one because their TV network wanted to show football, basically.
I mean,
but another possibility is that you take like the first Raw. Triple H hinted at this in his call. So you might take the first Raw and the first SmackDown of the year and basically turn them like into, super events. With actual, like, not pay-per-views, obviously, but with that treated like pay-per-views, only not. I could see them doing that. They might do something there, but I mean, this just had to end in a team match. They're clearly not done yet. Both of them has now won one. So obviously they need to go on. It's building. I mean, the feud is being built very well.
I mean, I enjoy it. I was like, I want to see more. Now they got both these women in. I want to see a little bit more like team action work and see how that goes as well.
Yeah, exactly.
We got the SmackDown Women's Championship match next. We got Shotzi versus Ronda Rousey with Shayna Baszler by her side.
Raquel Rodriguez should have been with Shotzi, but she got attacked and was out with an injury. I don't know if that injury was legit or if it is
I don't know.
kayfabe, but she was out with an injury. Ronda won next match.
Wow, really, Tim?
I legitimately don't have anything to say because it was so short. There isn't anything to say. When the match started to actually become a match, it was over.
Oh, they did jump into some audience, and I'm pretty sure there were people very
Yeah,
happy.
Shotzi's crossbody into the audience. Well, not audience. I will absolutely guarantee you these were all employees.
I'm
But
pretty sure they
Shotzi's
were.
crossbody
Maybe even
into
family
the
members. Well, we know.
Shotzi's crossbody into the audience was pretty good. But yeah, I mean, we already knew this was a placeholder match, but it was just a pure pee break match.
I mean, it wasn't bad. Don't let Tim like fool you. It wasn't a bad match. It was just like it wasn't like the greatest match in the world, but like, what did you expect? It was like Chelsea versus Ronda Rousey. It was like the
I
pace of the match.
expected them. I expected
I
them to
think
have like.
Tim expected like Shotzi to just come out bulls blazing and just win, and I'm like, no, Tim, it's a placement match. Calm down, like
Yes,
relax,
sure.
Tim.
That's
And then I was
exactly what
like,
I
damn,
expected.
Tim, like calm down. He was like yelling at me and calling me names, and I was like, okay, Tim, sure, fine, Tim, okay, you win. Gosh,
I called it. I called it Toya.
I know.
It got
Yeah,
that bad.
yeah.
No, I didn't expect much from this. I had just hoped for more because I think Shotzi is another very underrated wrestler, and I think these two could have had a good match if given just
Well,
even just
I
10,
don't.
12 minutes.
Hopefully, this is not the end between these
No,
two.
hopefully not.
And
Hopefully
hopefully
not.
it's a little bit better. I mean, we
Um,
said the same thing with like Ronda and Liv. The
yeah,
first match was like, I
um,
want a little bit more.
yeah,
So
exactly. They both of them deserve more than this. Let's put it like that.
I mean,
Again, this is not shouting at anyone because Toya's right. This wasn't a bad match. It was just a match that kind of felt like a match is built up like of three phases. There is the beginning of the match where there's sort of, usually at least, things change, of course, depending on the situation. But most matches are built up of three phases. The match where they're sort of feeling each other's teeth, just starting to get into things. Then the middle part where they shift focus back and forth, and then the end where they're hitting all their power moves, and one finally wins. This kind of felt like that they finished the entry phase, and then the match ended. So I just kind of feel like, more than anything, I felt like the structure of the match was weird.
way weird.
But again, it wasn't a bad match. I'm not saying that. And yes, I really want to see these two have another fight later. And the fact that Raquel, unless Raquel legitimately got injured on her own, I'm sure that was to build up something more coming later.
I'm sure. Well,
Yeah.
let's move on, shall we?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Let's go
To the best match of the night, in my opinion.
Let's go to the United States Championship match, which was Bobby Lashley versus Austin Theory versus the freaking Rollins.
Yeah, I say best match of the night. It was either that or the Women's War Games. But you're right about one thing though. Rollins' hair right now is super stupid.
Yes.
I don't know. I don't know what they're doing. I mean, I guess they're trying the old like frosted tips he had back in the Shield days. This doesn't work.
It's too much
like
frost.
Yeah.
I'm
Also,
like Rollins, pick a freaking color.
Yeah, just listen.
Blonde or black, Colin? Just do one, okay?
You can do blonde. You can even do frosted tips, but then don't make it like half of your hair. Just make a decision. Also,
80s.
His outfit was really subdued.
I think he's calming down.
Yeah, I think so. Maybe it's because he's turning face.
Yeah, probably.
As he was basically just in black wrestling trunks and a couple of I don't know, fur thingies around his. The thing that Hulk Hogan has started wearing in the last couple of years, or started wearing in his last couple of years, the sort of things around his neck. I don't know. I don't have too many notes from this match because again, there wasn't anything spectacular about it. It was just a really good structured match where all three of them did really well.
I did really enjoy how Bobby Lashley both Seth and Austin in the Hurt Lock
Yes,
together. That was
yeah, the
really
double hurt lock and the hurt lock slash sleeper hold,
yeah.
where Austin Theory got him in a sleeper hold while he had Seth in
The
the
Hurt
hurt
Lock.
locker.
Yeah,
That one was pretty funny,
that
and
was
again the double hurt lock as well. Bobby
that
has,
was
on the
pretty
other hand, started
creative.
to suddenly color up a bit. Those half polka dot like red and yellow things he's wearing.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, but again, I don't actually have. Strangely enough, despite this, maybe my favorite match of the evening, or at least in heavy competition with the women's war games. Again, I don't have too many notes because this wasn't an over the top match. There wasn't a lot of over the top moments. Again, there was a
It
thing
was
where
just a,
Bobby had,
it was just a
yeah,
really good. It was just really good match that you
yeah,
just want to pay attention to.
yeah.
Everybody did their little parts and stuff like that, and it was like I didn't have that many notes either because it was like and no one did anything fantastic except maybe towards the end with the
There wasn't
winner, but
any
like yeah.
real high spots.
Yeah, it was
That's
no
not
like
bad.
ice. It's like it sounds like we were like down in the match, but it was good match. But
Yeah,
it was just no like
yeah.
wow. It wasn't a wow
It,
factor match. It was just
it,
like no gimmicks or
it's
anything.
Yeah, exactly. It was just a really, really good, well-structured wrestling matches with three people who are just getting better. Raw. I mean, again, he has always been a superbly physical specimen. Bobby Lashley's biggest problem for us has always been that he shouldn't be talking, like
Right.
because he has the personality of plywood. But I think he has started to loosen up a bit because I think he's getting a little bit better at that. And in the ring, now that he's allowed to actually sell a bit and not be, indestructible, he's also really, really good. And Seth is, as I've said, maybe the best all-round wrestler in the company. And Austin Theory, we've raved about Austin Theory's abilities many times. So I mean, it was just this is one of those things where I only noticed that I didn't have notes afterwards because it was just a very good match. It just wasn't like a spot match
True.
or a high spot. The ending though was really cool. That now I don't that they must have rehearsed that. That wasn't just done on the fly.
Right. They
I mean,
had to rehearse that move because I'm just like, wait, what?
yeah. I mean, I know what. I mean, when I say rehearsed, I don't mean, of course, almost every match they sit down before the match and they go over it. Sometimes partially in the ring, sometimes like just talking it through for the main spots. Then they can improvise. They can improvise the other stuff. But this one was like Seth. God, I can't even remember. Seth did a. Did he do a stump or was it a
Okay, this was
pedigree
I
on
know what happened.
Theory?
So Seth
Please,
did
yeah.
a suplex and he was about to do a suplex off of the rope with Austin Theory, and then he was about to do a Phoenix, but then Bobby Lashley came in with the spear and kind of like I don't know what happened. Like he two-step, he speared Rollins, and then but Rollins still had Austin Theory in a Phoenix lock, so he still had it by the neck. So then Austin Theory kind of just fell on top of Rollins and 1, 2, 3 won the belt.
Yeah, it worked really well because it made all of them. I mean, I know we said Austin Theory should win, and he did, but it made all of them look really, really strong.
Yes, it did.
I mean, there's no, it didn't look like Theory. It didn't look like Theory like outplayed anyone. It was just this is what I like about it. It played to the chaos of a triple threat, right? You never know what's going to happen. There's always like this unknown factor of one extra person in the ring. I just really like how they did it. It made Seth look really strong. It made obviously. I mean, Lashley isn't hurt by it because he just hit a very powerful move that ended the match, and it gave Theory I'm smart and I won, and I just really liked it. It just really worked. Really,
it worked really well. It was a really good match. I really enjoyed it. But yeah, congratulations, Austin Theory.
Yeah, very well done.
Go to the main event. Our favorite match of the night.
Yay!
Yay! We
Yeah.
got the Brawling Brutes with Kevin Owens and Drew McIntyre with the Bloodline. I mean, the winners. Yeah.
Okay, let me do something here, guys. Let me do something here. Who do you think won? No, don't rush into it. We'll be quiet for like 3 seconds while you think about it and give us your guess. The Brawling Brutes. No, you're entirely wrong. No, the Bloodline won. I know this is a shock to everyone, but they actually did win.
Oh my gosh! Did they win?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how that happened. That is like the most surprising thing anyone has ever done in professional wrestling.
I didn't think they would win because I mean they never win ever.
I mean, it was so obvious that they would lose because when has the Bloodline ever won a match before?
I know, ever. Right? Gosh.
And when has they ever won a match in exactly the same way as they always do?
Ever. Never.
Again.
Never, guys. Again, poor Bloodline. I don't even know why they even exist. I was losing all the time. It's ridiculous.
Why are they even there?
I don't know. It's just wasting our time. You know, it's like, I don't know.
But this wasn't a bad match. We have said that about many Bloodline and Roman matches before.
We already know.
Yeah.
We already know. We know they got like good matches. That's like fucking saying Coke tastes like not Coke anymore. Like, no, it's all gonna taste like Coke. Yeah. Okay, like we know this already. It's just why?
Yeah, it ended with Sammy. Like Sammy was Kevin Owens, who was he wasn't really a surprise member, but he was he sort of had Jey Uso or Jimmy, one of the Uso, I think it was Jey, ready to pin, and then then Sammy was like, teasing that he would need to make a decision, and then he cheap shotted Owens with a groin punch, and then I think did Roman come in? Yeah, I think Roman came in and pinned him.
Nope. Because that's not what happened.
Was it Jey? Was it Jey that actually pinned him?
So what happens is Sammy uppercuts Kevin Owens in the the sack, and then pretty much offers the rest of him to Jey, and Jey does a frog splash and pins him.
Okay, yeah.
And then you remember at the end they did a big old hug and everything like that. And they're all friends now, yay!
Hey, and I'm just I can't be bothered. And again,
I mean, here's the thing, right?
We all knew it was going to end like that. Everyone knew it was going to end like that. There are pygmies on those islands that throw spears at helicopters. Who knew it was going to end like this? I mean, again, it's the most predictable storyline I have ever seen in wrestling, and that includes Hulk Hogan winning over Kamala, the Ugandan giant, back in 1998.
I mean, the one thing that kept me interested in the Bloodline was the thing between Sammy and
and Jey.
Right, with a little tiff. But from what I heard, I don't know if this is true or not. I don't really like to listen to rumors, but I heard that eventually it's going to be Sammy and Kevin Owens versus the Usos. I don't know if that's true or not.
Oh, I'm sure it is. I'm sure that's
I'm thinking because if you look at the storyline and you see, because people are like, oh, well, Sami Zayn should go after like Roman Reigns, and that's like, which really is not really going like after Roman. He's pretty much like, try to keep close to like the tag teams and stuff like that. So it'll make more sense. And then they had like this moment on like Monday Night Raw between like, I'm not gonna fight you anymore. I'm not gonna fight you anymore. I don't want to talk to you anymore. Between Sammy and Kevin Owens.
Kevin, yeah.
So who knows?
I mean,
who knows?
Sure
but like,
it's moving. Yeah.
But like I said, like the only thing that was kept me interested was the whole thing between Jey and like, cause I thought it was just funny, Yeah. It's kind of like when you have like two people like arguing all the time. I was like, why would I want them to stop arguing? It's funny to me.
Sami Zayn has been carrying the blood. It's really strange. The only thing that has been carrying the bloodline for the last 6 months is the one member who's not a part of it.
Right. Sami Zayn. Well,
Sami Zayn
is Sammy Uso. God dang it. He's an Uso now. I'm just like,
we will probably have a end of the year show like best wrestler, best of the year, blah blah blah. Again, I would not be surprised if we agree on Sami Zayn as wrestler of the year, both for what he did at Mania and then for basically carrying the bloodline for half a year.
Yes, because I mean, it was just, yeah, he pretty much it is it. I don't really like when freaking Roman Reigns was in the fucking cage when you have to wait, and he would just look at all smug. I was like, God, I hate you. He was like, oh,
the thing is, that is
so
not a
smug.
problem.
I mean, I know that's your character, but it's like, oh.
And that's good because that's what I keep saying. He is so good. He really has the potential to be the best wrestler in the company. But they just have to write him better. They just have to write him in a way to make people care. And no one cares. And the thing is, Triple H or whoever is writing this storyline, no one is going to care about him against The Rock either. Because The Rock is not coming back permanently. He's not going to win the title. Even if he is going to win the title, he's immediately going to drop it back. No one cares.
True. It's just the same thing.
I mean, you can even see it. Back in the day, like a year ago, if you watch, I know Twitter is not necessarily the best example, but a year ago, if you watch the Twitter threads that WWE put out on Roman matches, it was like maybe 60-40 or even 70-30 in Roman's favor. You know, he's doing really, I mean, because everyone was like, I mean, there are the ones who try to take it as kayfabe. There's also the ones like, yeah, this is going to be, the thing is, it's almost the opposite these days. People are so tired of this. And they keep missing opportunities to do something about it. And honestly, I think...
I don't think that losing... Wait a minute, because there was like one part where Jay accidentally kicks Sammy and the super kick Sammy. And I'm thinking to myself, why did nobody penny Sammy right now? He's out for like... It could have started. It could have, continued on with the little feud between these two. Still made the bloodline look strong because I don't think there's nothing in this point at all unless God Himself strikes down on the bloodline to make them look weak. One loss is not gonna make these teams look weak.
No, it might actually give people some interest. I've said this many times before. Imagine the storylines that could be written if they suddenly lost the titles. Well, we're the table, or even if, like, the Usos kept the titles. I'm the head of the table, acknowledge me. Well, you don't have the title anymore, but those people do. Like, there's a Roman who lost the title and then suddenly has to maybe fight being a heel that's still fighting with his own confidence. There's so many super cool storylines that could be written there.
We've said this many times before. We've said this many times before. It's like broken record. But I'm like, look, after this match, I'm like, you know what? I'm done with the bloodline. I don't even want to watch any matches with the bloodline anymore.
We have said
I'm officially done with the bloodline. Unless there's something happens. I'm like, look, Tim wants to say something about the bloodline match. No, I'm done. I'm done. Like, I'm finished.
I have suggested that in private, not so much on screen. Well, we're not on screen, but I have said this many times in private. I don't want to watch the Bloodlines matches anymore. Toya has always been, we need to watch it because we're going to talk about it. And she is right. But I am there with you now. I don't want to talk about them anymore. I just want to ignore them. Until they lose, or until something at least partially interesting
dramatic happens, something changes in the thing.
I am not going to talk about bloodline matches.
Yeah, the closest that you're ever going to get to see is like, they win. That's it.
Again, we might not do another one of these before... For 2 months before the Rumble, because there isn't anything officially scheduled before the Rumble. But again, if the Bloodline has a match at the Rumble, we're probably just going to ignore it.
Yeah,
what's the point? It's not part of the pay-per-view. This is someone fluffing Roman Reigns' cock in the middle of the ring.
Pretty much.
That's what this is.
We're just basically watching a dick sucking, guys. That's all we're doing.
And I don't even know why, because Roman has never seemed like, when you've seen like out of character interviews, he's never seen like the character, like the person with a gigantic ego. At least not an ego that would demand this. So I have to assume it's the company making these decisions
It
and
has
not
to
him
be.
somehow holding them hostage.
You will be freaking.
But yeah,
You will be freaking chef forever. But I don't want to be.
well,
They don't like
I
me
mean,
anymore. Don't care.
yeah,
You sign the contract.
again, I have said it before. This reminds me of nothing else than NWO late 1998, early 1999. Right after the finger poke of doom. That's what this reminds me of.
Yeah,
I mean,
I can see it.
WWE is not going to die. The finger poke of doom probably killed WCW more than anything else. WWE is not there yet, especially because, unlike WCW at the time, the rest of the roster and the rest of the cards are amazing
Luckily
right now.
enough.
But I'm just saying, the storyline reminds me of those days where it was just like, yeah,
Yeah, it's like it just
okay,
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 yeah, all right. Oh, chicken again, right?
fine,
Fine,
have
fantastic.
fun,
Yeah,
have
okay,
fun. But
great.
yeah, if again, unless some of the Bloodline members happens to be in the Rumble, yeah, you're probably not going to hear us mention them again until they lose something.
Well,
Because
that
there's
is
nothing more to say. It's every match is the same.
well, that is it, guys.
Yep,
That was Survivor Series.
good,
What
good.
do you give
I would
this?
say I would say 7.5. I would love to give it higher, but I just think that women's championship match pulls it down a bit because I just feel like it was taking the women's title and it just undermining it a little bit. That should have been more important.
All right, I'm gonna end it now. Bye, guys.